The sleek silver exploration vessel of the Galactic Council hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming needle against the black velvet of space. Inside the observation deck, Captain James Miller of the United Earth Defense Force stood quietly, watching the alien delegates examine data readings of Earth with what he could only interpret as expressions of horror on their non-human faces. "Impossible," muttered the tall, blue-skinned chief scientist, his crystalline eyes widening as he rechecked the measurements. "These readings must be wrong. No civilized species could possibly evolve in such conditions." Miller fought back a smile as he watched the aliens' growing distress. The chief scientist turned to his colleagues, waving his long fingers at the holographic display of Earth's statistics. "Look at these numbers. The gravity is crushing. 9.8 meters per second squared. The atmospheric pressure would collapse most species' internal organs. The temperature variations are lethal, from burning hot to freezing cold in a single planetary rotation." The scientist's voice rose with each observation. Another alien, this one with green scales and multiple eyes, stepped forward. "And the biological hazards. Microscopic organisms everywhere. Aggressive predators on every continent, poisonous plants and animals. Even their water is corrosive." Miller cleared his throat politely. "I assure you, our instruments are functioning perfectly. Those readings are accurate." The aliens turned to stare at him, as if suddenly remembering his presence. The chief scientist approached him cautiously, scanning device in hand. But you're standing here, breathing, moving normally. How?" "This is just how Earth is," Miller shrugged. "We've evolved to handle it." The green-scaled alien consulted a glowing tablet. "According to our classification system, these conditions would make Earth a Class 13 Deathworld." The alien's voice dropped to a whisper on the last words, as if speaking them might bring bad luck. "Class 13?" Miller asked, genuinely curious. "What does that mean?" The chief scientist's translation device crackled as he explained. "Our scale of habitable worlds runs from Class 1 to Class 10. Class 1 worlds are paradise planets, perfect conditions for life. Class 10 worlds are barely habitable." He paused, looking uncomfortable. "We had to create new categories when we found Earth. Classes 11 and 12 were theoretical. Class 13, we didn't think it was possible." Miller watched as more alien scientists gathered around the displays, chattering in their various languages as they pointed at different readings. Some were taking samples of the air from the ship's filters. Others were analyzing pictures of Earth's wildlife. Their reactions ranged from disbelief to outright fear. "Your oceans are filled with acid," one exclaimed. "Your planet's crust is constantly shifting. There are millions of species that could kill us instantly. You have storms that can level cities." Miller listened to their mounting hysteria with growing amusement. To him, these were just the normal conditions of home. The storms were weather to plan around. The animals were creatures to respect and admire. The gravity was, well, just gravity. The chief scientist approached him again, this time with a sort of nervous respect. "Captain Miller, how does your species? I mean, how do we survive?" Miller finished for him. "We just do. Earth is our home. We've adapted to its challenges. In fact, those challenges made us stronger." The room fell silent as the aliens processed this information. Miller could almost see them reassessing their initial dismissal of humanity as a primitive species. Any creature that could not only survive but build a civilization on a Class 13 Deathworld was not to be underestimated. The chief scientist made a gesture that Miller's translator indicated was a sign of deep respect. "We have much to learn about your species, Captain. It seems we may have been hasty in our initial assessment of Earth's importance to the galaxy." Miller nodded, keeping his expression neutral despite his internal satisfaction. This was just the beginning, he knew. Soon, the galaxy would learn exactly what it meant to be born on a world that had forged humanity in the fires of evolution's most demanding crucible. The Earth, their beautiful, terrible Class 13 Deathworld had prepared them well for whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Ada Thompson walked through the Galactic Council's research station with a relaxed stride, sipping her morning coffee while the alien scientists around her scrambled to maintain safe distances. Their environmental suits hummed with protective fields, designed to shield them from what they considered Earth's lethal conditions. Leading the research team was Dr. Bright, a tall being with iridescent skin who insisted on being called by a human name for easier communication. He watched through his protective visor as Ada casually opened a window to let in the fresh spring breeze. "Please, Researcher Thompson," he called out in alarm. "The unfiltered air contains countless microorganisms, and the pressure variation's cold." "Could what?" Ada asked, taking another sip of her coffee. "It's just a nice day. Around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, light breeze, partly cloudy. Perfect weather for our demonstrations." The alien research team had arrived 3 weeks ago to study how humans functioned in Earth's lethal environment. So far, they had been amazed by everything from human children playing in the rain to construction workers operating in the summer heat. Today's test schedule includes physical endurance evaluations, Dr. Bright announced, checking his datavet. "Though I must protest again about the conditions. The gravity alone puts immense stress on." Ada cut him off by doing a series of quick jumping jacks, then a handstand, making several alien observers flinch back. "See, we're fine. Shall we begin?" The testing area was set up in a large field outside the research station. Various pieces of equipment had been arranged to measure human capabilities. A group of volunteer test subjects, athletes, soldiers, and ordinary citizens, waited nearby. "First test," Dr. Bright announced. "Load-bearing capacity under Class 13 gravitational conditions." Ada watched as Tom, a local construction worker, easily lifted a 200-pound weight and walked with it. The aliens' instruments went wild, their operators chattering in disbelief. Impossible. His bone structure should be collapsing. "Next," Ada called out cheerfully, "we'll demonstrate temperature adaptation." Susan, a marathon runner, ran 5 miles in the midday sun while the aliens monitored her vital signs. They were stunned by her body's efficient cooling system and endurance. When she finished, she wasn't even breathing hard. "But the ultraviolet radiation exposure alone," one researcher stammered. "We call it getting a tan," Susan replied with a grin, wiping sweat from her forehead. The demonstrations continued throughout the day. The aliens watched in mixture of horror and fascination as humans demonstrated their ability to swim in acidic ocean water, eat foods that would be toxic to most alien species, heal from minor cuts and bruises with remarkable speed, function perfectly in rapid temperature changes. "And now," Ada announced, "we'll demonstrate human resistance to atmospheric pressure variations." She led the group to a nearby mountain trail. The alien researchers were beside themselves when they realized humans regularly climbed to high altitudes for recreation. "You do this for fun?" Dr. Bright asked incredulously. "Some people climb Mount Everest," Ada replied. "That's about 29,000 feet up. The air's pretty thin up there, but humans have done it without oxygen tanks." The aliens huddled together, frantically updating their research notes. One of them approached Ada with a trembling measuring device. "Researcher Thompson," the alien said, "we've been monitoring your biological functions all day. Your species not only survives these conditions, you thrive in them. Your adaptability is unprecedented." Ada smiled, finishing her 3rd cup of coffee, another substance that amazed the aliens with its potency. "We're full of surprises. Earth has taught us to be tough. When you grow up on a world that challenges you every day, you either adapt or you don't make it." Dr. Bright made a note on his datapad. "The Galactic Council will need to revise many of its assumptions about survivable conditions, and perhaps," he paused meaningfully, "about humanity's potential role in galactic affairs." Ada nodded, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that the aliens found uncomfortably intense. Tomorrow would bring more tests, more surprises, and more revelations about just how remarkable it was to be human. But for now, she was looking forward to a good night's sleep, yet another human trait that fascinated their visitors from the stars. The news of the Dominion's threat reached Earth on a quiet Tuesday morning. The Galactic Council's emergency transmission displayed in the United Earth Defense Force headquarters, showing the Dominion's massive warfleet approaching the solar system. General Mark Stone stood before the holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the red warning lights. Around him, military officers from various Earth nations watched as the alien armada's specifications scrolled across their screens. "They think we're weak," Stone said, his voice carrying across the silent command center. "They believe the Class 13 designation is a mistake." The Dominion's message played again. "Your species cannot possibly be as resilient as claimed. No sentient race could evolve in such conditions. Surrender your world, and we will provide you with suitable habitation on a proper civilized planet." Commander Helen Reed stepped forward, her combat medals glinting under the emergency lights. "They're in for one hell of a surprise, sir." "Indeed," Stone agreed, zooming in on the Dominion fleet's design specifications that the Galactic Council had provided. Their ships and troops are optimized for standard Class 3 to 5 worlds. They have no idea what they're about to face. The room erupted into activity as defense plans were set in motion. Earth's military forces had been preparing for this possibility since first contact. They knew that sooner or later, someone would underestimate them. In orbit, Earth's defense platforms powered up. These weren't the elegant, standardized weapons used by most galactic civilizations. These were human weapons, built to function in conditions that would destroy most alien technology. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, "the Galactic Council representatives are requesting permission to evacuate. They say the coming conflict will make Earth even more dangerous than usual." Stone allowed himself a grim smile. "Tell them they're welcome to leave, but suggest they might want to stay and watch. They're about to learn something important about humanity." The first reports from the outer system came in as the Dominion fleet approached Jupiter. Their ships were massive, designed to intimidate through sheer scale. But size meant little in Earth's gravity well. "They're deploying their first wave of scout ships," Reed announced, "entering the asteroid belt now." Stone watched as the alien ships navigated through space. Their movements were precise, calculated, efficient, and completely unprepared for warfare Earth-style. They had never faced an enemy forged in the crucible of a Class 13 Deathworld. "Launch Operation Thunderstorm," Stone ordered. Across Earth, missile silos opened. Fighter jets screamed into the sky. Nuclear submarines slipped beneath the waves. Every weapon humanity had developed during its violent history was brought to bear. The Galactic Council observers watched in fascination as Earth's military machines sprang to life. They had never seen anything like it, a species that had turned their world's deadly conditions into tactical advantages. "Sir, Dominion command ship is broadcasting," Reed reported. They're laughing at our preparations. They say our weapons are primitive." "Let them laugh," Stone replied. "They don't understand yet. We evolved on a world that tries to kill us every day. We learned to fight gravity, radiation, predators, diseases, and each other. We learned to survive everything Earth could throw at us." The first Dominion scouts entered the upper atmosphere. Immediately, their ships began to strain under Earth's gravity and atmospheric pressure. Warning signals blared across their fleet as they encountered conditions their technology wasn't designed to handle. "Look at that," Reed said, pointing to the redouts. "Their hull integrity is already compromising. They never expected this level of gravitational stress." Stone nodded. "Send the message. This is humanity's formal response to your demand for surrender." The Earth's defense forces moved into position. Missiles locked onto targets. Fighters prepared for intercept. Ground forces stood ready. Humanity was about to show the galaxy exactly what it meant to be from a Class 13 Deathworld. In orbit, the Dominion Fleet Commander received Earth's response and felt the first stirring of doubt. Perhaps they should have paid more attention to that Class 13 designation after all. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity was ready to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Commander Robert Hayes watched from his command bunker as the first wave of Dominion forces attempted to land on Earth's surface. The alien soldiers, bred for combat on gentler worlds, stumbled as they emerged from their ships. Their bioengineered bodies, supposedly the pinnacle of warrior evolution, struggled against Earth's merciless gravity. "Would you look at that?" Lieutenant Emma Foster said, lowering her binoculars. "They can barely stand up." The Dominion's initial attack had been a disaster from the moment their troops entered Earth's atmosphere. Their ships, designed for the thin atmospheres of Class 3 worlds, bucked and shuddered in Earth's thick air. Several had already broken apart during descent, unable to handle the pressure. "Their power armor's failing," Foster reported, tracking the enemy movements. "Looks like our gravity is crushing their servo systems." Hayes nodded, unsurprised. "And their weapons?" "Overheating, sir. They didn't account for our atmospheric density. Their energy weapons are basically cooking themselves." The Dominion soldiers on the ground were discovering, to their horror, that every aspect of Earth was hostile to them. The humidity fogged their visors. The oxygen-rich air was too potent for their respiratory systems. Even the soil beneath their feet was teeming with microscopic life their immune systems had never encountered. "Launch counterattack," Hayes ordered. "Show them how Earthborn warriors fight." Human soldiers moved out from their positions, advancing through terrain that would have killed most alien species. They ran under the full weight of Earth's gravity, their bodies conditioned by evolution to handle forces that were crushing their alien opponents. The first engagement was brief and brutal. A squad of Marines approached a group of struggling Dominion warriors. The aliens fired their weapons, but the shots went wild. They couldn't compensate for Earth's gravity in their targeting calculations. The Marines returned fire with projectile weapons, simple, reliable, and devastating. The Dominion's advanced armor, designed to stop energy weapons, provided little protection against good old-fashioned kinetic force. "Sir," Foster called out, "the enemy is requesting emergency extraction. Their medical units are being overwhelmed. They're reporting multiple system failures in their troops." Through the command center's screens, Hayes watched as the Dominion forces fell apart. Their soldiers were collapsing from heat exhaustion, their bodies unable to cope with Earth's temperature variations. Others were succumbing to simple bacterial infections that human children shrugged off daily. "They're retreating to their ships," Foster announced. "But the ships aren't faring much better. Our atmosphere is playing havoc with their engines." Hayes activated the General Command channel. "All units, execute Operation Gravity Well. Show them what happens when you threaten a Deathworld." Earth's defense forces moved with practiced precision. Fighter jets, designed to function in Earth's thick atmosphere, streaked through the sky. Tanks rolled across terrain that would have shattered alien vehicles. Infantry units moved through forests and swamps that other species considered lethal. The Dominion's retreat turned into a rout. Their mighty invasion force, which had expected to easily subjugate a primitive world, was being systematically destroyed by the very environment they had dismissed. "Enemy fleet is pulling back to high orbit," Foster reported. They're sending a message." The alien commander's voice crackled through the command center. "This is impossible. How do you survive in these conditions? Your world is a death trap." Hayes picked up the transmitter. "This death trap is our home. We don't just survive here. We thrive here. Remember that the next time you think about invading Earth." As the Dominion fleet limped away from Earth, Hayes looked at the casualty reports. The human forces had suffered minimal losses. Most of their work had involved watching the alien invaders succumb to Earth's natural defenses. "Send word to the Galactic Council," Hayes ordered. "Tell them the Class 13 designation wasn't a mistake. It was an underestimate." Foster smiled as she relayed the message. Outside, Earth's lethal environment continued as it always had, the gravity crushing, the atmosphere thick, the biosphere aggressive. But to humans, it was just another beautiful day on their Deathworld home. The galaxy had learned its first lesson about Earth. There would be more to come. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber was packed with representatives from hundreds of worlds. All eyes were fixed on Dr. Anna Wright as she presented humanity's research on why Earth had produced such a resilient species. The secret, she explained, standing confidently before the alien assembly, lies in how Earth's harsh conditions shaped our evolution. Behind her, a holographic display showed Earth's history, billions of years of constant change, challenge, and adaptation. The alien delegates watched in fascination as the story of human evolution unfolded. Our ancestors survived multiple extinction events. Wright continued. Each catastrophe forced rapid adaptation. Those who survived passed on their enhanced traits. The display showed early humans facing predators, surviving extreme weather, and adapting to rapidly changing environments. The alien scientists in the audience were frantically taking notes. Earth's high gravity gave us dense bone structure and strong muscles. Our atmospheric pressure and oxygen levels enhanced our endurance. The constant presence of bacteria and viruses led to powerful immune systems. A representative from a Class II paradise world raised a tentacle. But how do you handle the constant physical stress? The mental strain of living in such danger? Wright smiled. That's the most fascinating part. The challenges didn't break us. They made us stronger. Earth's conditions forced our bodies to develop extraordinary repair mechanisms. She displayed medical data showing human healing rates, cellular regeneration, and stress adaptation. The alien doctors in the audience began chattering excitedly. "Look at this," Wright said, pointing to brain scans. "Earth's dangers enhanced our problem-solving abilities. We developed pattern recognition, risk assessment, and creative thinking just to survive daily life." The display shifted to show humans in various environments: Arctic cold, desert heat, mountain peaks, ocean depths. In each setting, humans had not just survived but built civilizations. We can survive in almost any environment because our homeworld prepared us for everything. Earth taught us to adapt, to endure, to overcome. A senior council member stood up. "This explains the failure of the Dominion invasion. Their warriors were designed for optimal conditions, while we're designed for disaster." Wright finished. "Every human carries the genetic legacy of countless ancestors who survived Earth's worst challenges." She showed clips of human athletic achievements, running marathons, climbing mountains, diving to crushing depths. The aliens watched in amazement as humans casually endured conditions that would kill most species. Our children play in conditions that your environmental suits barely protect against. Our soldiers train in environments you consider lethal. Even our elderly have physical capabilities that would be remarkable on other worlds. The chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. A species forged in Earth's crucible wasn't just tough. They were practically unstoppable by conventional means. "But there's more," Wright continued, silencing the chamber. "Earth didn't just make us physically resilient. It made us adaptable in ways you're only beginning to understand." She displayed data showing human psychological resilience, technological innovation, and social adaptation. The aliens began to realize they weren't just dealing with tough creatures. They were facing a species that could outthink, outfight, and outlast almost anything the galaxy could throw at them. "We don't see Earth's conditions as hostile anymore," Wright explained. "To us, they're normal. And that's what makes us different. Where you see danger, we see opportunity. Where you see obstacles, we see challenges to overcome." The council chamber was silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just surviving on a Class 13 death world. They had mastered it, turned its deadly conditions into advantages, and emerged stronger for it. "This changes everything," the council leader announced. "Our understanding of species development, our military doctrines, our colonization protocols." Wright nodded. Yes, it does. Earth isn't just a death world. It's a forge that created something new. A species that thrives on challenge and grows stronger with every obstacle. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. They weren't just survivors of a deadly world. They were its champions, carrying its strength to the stars. Major Lisa Walker stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, Earth's first purpose-built space warfare vessel. Unlike the sleek ships of other species, the Thunderchild was built like a fortress, rugged, powerful, and designed to operate in conditions that would tear other ships apart. "Status report on the Dominion fleet," she ordered, watching as their remaining ships regrouped near Saturn's rings. "They're still trying to recover from our first counterattack," Lieutenant Paul Ryan reported. "Their ships can't handle the maneuvers we're performing. The gravitational stresses are tearing them apart." The Thunderchild had led Earth's first space offensive, showing the galaxy what happened when humans took the fight beyond their homeworld. Their ship designs, like everything else human, had been shaped by Earth's harsh conditions. "Launch the marine drop pods," Walker commanded. "Let's show them what Earthborn warriors can really do." The drop pods streaked through space, each containing a squad of human marines. While alien soldiers needed complex life support systems just to survive, humans could operate in conditions that other species considered impossible. "First wave has breached the Dominion flagship," Ryan announced. "There, Ma'am, you need to see this." The tactical display showed the boarding action. The Dominion warriors, already demoralized from their failed Earth invasion, were facing something even worse: humans fighting in space. Human marines moved through the alien ship with devastating efficiency. Their natural strength, enhanced by Earth's gravity, made them nearly unstoppable in the lower gravity of the alien vessel. While the Dominion troops struggled with their failing environmental systems, the humans adapted instantly to changing conditions. "Their commander is requesting immediate parley," Ryan reported, trying to hide a grin. Walker nodded. "Put them through." The Dominion commander appeared on screen, his expression showing a mixture of fear and awe. How are your warriors functioning in these conditions?" "Our life support is failing. Our gravity systems are damaged." "Those conditions," Walker replied. "We call that a normal Tuesday. Your artificial gravity is about half of what we're used to. Your atmosphere is thin by our standards. Did you really think the species that evolved on Earth would be stopped by this?" Reports were coming in from across the solar system. Human ships, crewed by people who had evolved to handle crushing gravity and extreme conditions, were overwhelming the Dominion fleet. Their tactical doctrine, based on fighting in normal conditions, was useless against humans who treated lethal environments as minor inconveniences. "Second wave of Marines reporting success," Ryan announced. "They've secured 3 more enemy vessels." The crews surrendered as soon as they saw our boarding teams operating without environmental suits. Walker allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy was learning that humanity's advantages weren't limited to Earth. Every aspect of human technology, tactics, and training was influenced by their Deathworld heritage. "Ma'am," Ryan called out, "the Galactic Council observers are requesting permission to document this operation. They say it's rewriting their understanding of combat capabilities." "Grant them access to the non-classified feeds," Walker ordered. "Let them see what happens when you push humans into a corner." The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. Human ships performed maneuvers that would have killed other species. Human marines breached hulls and fought in conditions that their enemies considered unsurvivable. Human technology, built to withstand Earth's punishing environment, proved virtually indestructible by alien standards. "Dominion fleet is signaling full retreat," Ryan reported. They're asking for terms." Walker looked at the tactical display, where the once mighty Dominion armada was now in full retreat from ships they had initially dismissed as primitive. Earth's evolution of warfare, tempered by millions of years of survival on a death world, had proven superior to the Dominion's advanced military doctrine. "Send the message to Earth Command," Walker ordered. "The counteroffensive is successful. And add a note: Tell them the galaxy is about to learn what happens when you push a Deathworld species into space. The stars beckoned, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy just how far a species could go when they were forged in the crucible of Earth. 10 years after the Dominion's failed invasion, Earth had become the galaxy's most influential power. Inside the rebuilt Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador David Ross watched as yet another alien delegation requested human assistance for an impossible mission. The mining colony on Verex VI is failing, the delegate explained. The atmospheric pressure is too high, the gravity too strong. No species can survive long enough to extract the vital minerals. Ross exchanged knowing looks with his team. What these aliens called impossible conditions were just another day for human workers. "We'll send a mining crew next month," he replied. "Our engineers have already designed equipment that will work in those conditions." The chamber, once filled with species who had mocked Earth as a primitive death world, now buzzed with respect and admiration. Humanity had transformed from a curiosity into an indispensable part of galactic civilization. "Next item," announced the council leader, "the exploration of the Crimson Nebula's core worlds." A holographic display showed a cluster of planets that would kill most species instantly. Toxic atmospheres, crushing gravity, extreme temperatures, precisely the kind of places where humans excelled. The Earth Exploration Corps has already established 3 bases in the region, Ross reported. "Our teams are mapping the worlds and establishing outposts. We'd found valuable resources that were previously considered inaccessible." The alien delegates murmured in amazement. Human space explorers had pushed the boundaries of possible settlement far beyond what anyone had thought possible. Worlds that had been written off as death traps were now becoming thriving colonies under human management. The military report, the council leader continued. "The Joint Defense Initiative." Ross nodded to General Maria Torres, who stepped forward. Under her command, human military advisors were revolutionizing galactic warfare. "Our training programs have been successful," Torres reported. "We're teaching other species how to operate in extreme conditions. Not to our level, of course, but they're improving." The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their physical capabilities. It was their ability to adapt and teach others to adapt. Human innovations in technology, tactics, and training were transforming every aspect of galactic society. "The medical research update," the council leader prompted. Dr. John Chen, head of the Human Medical Exchange, displayed his findings. "Our studies of human cellular regeneration have led to breakthroughs in treating species from lighter gravity worlds. We're also making progress in enhancing other species' environmental tolerance." Human medical knowledge, born from evolving on a world that constantly tried to kill them, was saving lives across the galaxy. Their robust immune systems and rapid healing abilities were providing insights that alien medical science had never considered. And finally, the council leader announced the classification update. Ross stood. This was the moment they had been waiting for. "Earth is no longer classified as just a Class 13 death world," he declared. "It is now recognized as the galaxy's premier training ground. Species that complete survival training on Earth are certified for operations on any world in known space." The chamber erupted in applause. Earth, once mocked as too deadly for civilized life, had become the standard by which toughness was measured. Military forces, exploration teams, and emergency responders from across the galaxy now trained there, learning from the species that had mastered its challenges. "Humanity has changed how we view the universe," the council leader concluded. "They've shown us that what we considered impossible was merely difficult, that our limitations were often self-imposed, that evolution in harsh conditions creates not monsters, but pioneers." Ross looked around the chamber, remembering how different things had been just a decade ago. Humanity had not just survived their introduction to galactic society. They had thrived, bringing their unique strengths to every challenge they encountered. The galaxy laughed at Earth, he said quietly to himself, until they learned what a Deathworld species could do. Outside the chamber, Ships from 100 worlds docked at Earth's orbital stations. Alien visitors, protected by human-designed environmental suits, prepared to face the challenges of humanity's homeworld. Earth had become not just a power in the galaxy, but a symbol of what was possible when life adapted to overcome any obstacle. The Class 13 Deathworld had become the galaxy's greatest teacher.